What's the most disgusting thing you've ever done in your life? NSW. Threw up minutes after swallowing an ecstasy pill, used my phone's flashlight to pick it out of the vomit, and sent it back down chased by a beer. Saved $10 that night. Dug through 14 bags of medical waste because a scrub nurse thought she maybe threw away a specialized surgical instrument. In 95 heat, some of the bags had been outside since the day before. The other scrub tech and I kept asking, between bags, if she'd found it. Always no. She found it under a sponge on her tray. Frick you, Stephanie. Was sick, eating pizza pockets, threw up, closed mouth, short strings of cheese out nose like fricking Spider-Man. I used to roughhouse way too much as a child, and constantly ripped holes in my cheap underwear. This exasperated my mother, so to skip being lectured at, I decided to make do with my old ripped underwear for as long as I could. Right after this decision, I had to spend an extra hour on the school bus because of a massive accident on the way, or something. It was also the day I'd ripped my shorts while doing splits at recess. The extra hour was very hard on me, as I usually went potty right after I reached home, probably thanks to the high fiber lunch I ate every day. That day, after more than 40 minutes of extreme bowel control on the bus, 6-year-old me finally lost the battle and let it go. I told myself that I could handle an underwear full of potty for a few minutes. What I'd forgotten about was the holes. The true horror of the situation hit me when I tried to get up and felt a clammy wetness connecting me to the seat. It's a miracle I didn't pass out from shame and extreme anxiety. When the bus pulled up at my stop, I shot out of it like a burst of smelly wind, leaving behind a smushed pile of yellow-brown high-fiber poop on the seat. The driver later told my parents that he could see the imprint of my short seams on the pile and knew it was me, but I'm pretty sure he was lying about that. I am equally sorry that this happened to you and that your bus driver had checked out your butt so many times he could recognize your butt seam on a pile of crap. If he was lying, that was not the way to go. When I was 2, my mother found me in the living room with blood running from my mouth. She of course got very concerned and ran to me to find out what was wrong and rush me to the hospital. Weirdly enough, I was not crying or upset. When she got to me and opened my mouth, she found out why. I was chewing on a giant tick. According to her, the abdomen was about 15 millimeters in diameter. Now you may wonder how such a large tick got in the house. Well, of course it had fallen off our dog. Well, it's honestly not that bad, but I'm sure any workers in healthcare can relate. During clinicals I worked in central processing at a small hospital, and along with all the body fluids, they would send up random body parts on a dumbwaiter to be sent to the proper department. I guess the grossest thing that ever came up was a huge anal polyp. Another was a piece of brain, and the black toe they had to cut off due to gangrene. Eventually it stopped being gross and started being fascinating, except for the poop. The poop was always gross. When I was under 10 years old, I pooped a little in a small plastic container, filled it up with water and left it on the side of my balcony. I don't know why I did this, but no one ever noticed. I forgot about it for a couple months, and one day I remembered and came back to see it was still there. So I threw it out the balcony of the 3rd floor. It fell on the parking lot and blew up horridly. I don't know what happened later, but good thing no one was close, as that crap might have been toxic. The short version is that I was severely constipated and had diarrhea behind the hard stool. Once my bowels were evacuated and I had wiped, I lost balance on my weakened legs and caught myself by plowing my hand right into the bowl of a rundown gas station toilet. Don't eat MREs for a week while camping, then cook and eat fish from a questionable creek on the last day. I had to trim all of my fingernails to the meat to get crap smell off of my fingers. I was sneezing like crazy and didn't know why. I tried Piriton and it did nothing. I didn't feel unwell either, so just rolled with it. A couple of days later I was round a friend's house and really sneezed hard, and a little curly noodle came out of my nose. I pulled on it slowly and it slid out all wiggly, which set off my gag reflex. I just managed not to puke on my friend's floor, but I wanted to. It measured about 5 inches stretched out. It was from Chinese food I ate 4 days prior. Ate toilet paper off a road. I was keen on dares and doing stupid stuff to get attention when I was 15. Did you at least get money for it? I was a caretaker for mentally challenged people for a while. Once we suspected that this guy had eaten a rubber glove, and to be sure we had to give him an enema to see if something came out. People who are severely handicapped and stuck in a wheelchair don't have bowel movements that often. Sometimes they can go close to a week before things start moving. That was the case with this guy. He hadn't taken a crap for like 5 days before this. He was given the enema in the bathroom and a few minutes later gave birth to a beanbag chair-sized turd on the floor. I then went to the kitchen and got a fork which I used to mince up the crap like I was portioning out a humongous sloppy joe. The glove wasn't there. I didn't eat for like 3 days after that. Oh my god, you needed the poop knife. Just happened a few weeks ago. I accidentally wiped my butt with the tail of my shirt at work. Somehow got tangled up with the toilet paper on the wipe. Luckily I noticed it before I left the stall and had a t-shirt on underneath and worked somewhere with a lax dress code. Not the grossest thing I suppose since I caught it, but the potential to go back to my desk with a crappy button down is a terrible thought. Once in high school my friends and I got drunk off some giant jug of red wine. I had to go take a crap, then all of a sudden was overcome with the urge to bath. It hit me too quickly to wheel around and use the toilet, so I bathed in the sink in front of me. It was a weird feeling evacuating fluids out of both ends at the same time. My friends hear the commotion and decided to open the door to find me in a real sorry state, then left. Ended up falling asleep while cleaning up. Had food poisoning and was throwing up and diarrhea at the same time. I couldn't sleep because it would happen every 10 minutes. So I slept naked on the bathroom floor with no rugs so I could clean the diarrhea leaking out of my butt easier when I eventually woke up in the morning. This is pretty disgusting but also really smart. My mother tells me she came into the bathroom to see how I was doing. I had taken a crap in the tub and played with the turd. She asked me what I was doing and I said I was playing with a pirate ship. Okay, it's not actually the grossest I've done, but it's a neat image. Heave and ho. A guy at work dipped and spit into a Starbucks cup that still had the lid on. At one point during our programming session I reached over and took a swig thinking it was my coffee. I wasn't able to wash my foot for a good month after I had surgery done on it. My leg up to my knee was nothing but pre-surgery saline solution on top of dead skin and swollen leg, with unshaven leg hair poking through in places. The smell when I washed it for the first time. Did I mention I couldn't even use a washcloth because the entire area was swollen as all heck? My leg smelled like stinky foot and saline solution and dead skin and my sister's facial soap for over a month. When I was in the army my unit left for a few weeks for some training. When we returned we saw a wasp nest up by our company area, so naturally we knocked it down and threw it into the grass behind the building. Next day after PT we find the nest in the grass, has a bunch of dew from the night before on it, and no wasps. Because we're a bunch of stupid grunts, it immediately became a bidding war to get another one of our guys, Hughes, to eat it, which eventually he agrees for the price of $40. Pops it into his mouth, chews for maybe a minute and pops a few larvae still inside and immediately throws it back up, right into my hand. Without missing a beat I hear my squad leader shout out, "Now you eat it, assert your dominance over him." And that's how I earned $40, a half-drunk Dr. Pepper, and dominance over my entire company who watched me eat that half-chewed and vomited wasp nest. It's also how I can guarantee my fiancée won't kiss me for a few hours, because she hates that story. Grunts are stupid. It's in our nature to do stupid things. Based on my experience being in an infantry company, this probably wasn't even the dumbest thing done that week. When I was 12 or so I used to sneak into the kitchen to eat junk food while my parents were downstairs watching TV. On this particular night I couldn't find anything good in the pantry, so I raided my mom's baking drawer. I found an old bag of chocolate chips, then quickly plopped down in front of the family computer and proceeded to munch on them while I zoned out surfing the web. After finishing half of the bag they started to taste funny, so I looked down and the bag was filled with small white maggots. I got the norovirus, came down with it during a trip to IKEA, made it home, but ended up with an immediate need to throw up and have violent diarrhea at the same time. I ended up on the toilet with a plastic bag in my lap for me to bath in, but the bag had a couple tiny holes in it, so it ended up with little streams of puke going in 2 directions. Added bonus, after everything subsided, I blew my nose and half an IKEA meatball came flying out. Okay, that's rough. Woke up in the middle of the night with a runny nose, and while laying there had the urge to sneeze. I was tightly wrapped in my bedding and didn't want to let cool air under the blankets, so I turned my head to sneeze into the wall. A second sneeze was coming, and I had the thought that if I aimed it at a different area of the wall, it'd make less mess somehow, so I did. But I didn't have a runny nose of snot. It was a bloody nose, and I woke up in the morning to a crime scene covering about a quarter of my bedroom wall. Got cow crap in my mouth once. It's more of something that happened to me than something I did. I was helping round up cattle. I should mention I was helping out a friend I met in college. His family were ranchers. When cattle get tired from running, their poop gets runny. Anyway, we have them all in a corral and are giving them time to relax and settle down. I'm standing next to the corral chatting with someone. A cow nearby takes a huge, runny crap. It splashed up and a decent sized glob of it went in my mouth. My significant other and I got food poisoning at the same time. We had one bathroom. You never get as close to someone as when you basically have no choice as to whether you crap or vomit together and in front of them, and sometimes crap and puke at the same time. Pretty romantic. I worked in mortgage collections and I started the job 3 days before the 2008 crash. I spent the next 6 months calling all of America, asking for and threatening with foreclosure for payments. I am so very sorry. Please forgive me. This is a different type of post on this thread. Don't blame yourself, because in reality, you were just trying to keep your job and head above the water like everyone else. Licked old applesauce off the side of a dumpster. I was in middle school and the butthole kids were making a whole commotion about being dared to lick that applesauce off the side of a dumpster, and they were really just being too noisy. So my brilliant idea was, frick them. If there's no applesauce, they can't keep daring the other to do it. So I walked up and just ate that applesauce like I was a man desperate to win the $500 prize at a pie eating contest. Why didn't you just clean it up with a paper towel or something, LMAO? A couple of years ago I was really drunk and camping with some friends. I used the porta john and had my phone with me. It slipped out of my pocket and into the toilet. The toilet was pretty full of water and other things, of course. I was so desperate to save my phone that I stuck my hand into the porta potty and managed to grab it. After that, I put a bunch of hand sanitizer on my hands because there was no sink, of course. My friends and I refer to it as the toilet phone incident. Naturally, the phone did not work after that. I can't even believe I felt the need to grab it because it was just a pay-as-you-go cheap phone. You have been visited by the Holy Fruit Boy. If you comment Tiny Turtle, he will bless you with unlimited holy fruits. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.